What's up, everyone? With the cast of Big Brother Canada Season 9 being announced, of course we're going to take some time to do a deep dive into the cast and analyse the 14 house guests that have been revealed and what potential they are going to bring to the game. So welcome to your Big Brother Canada update. Right, before we get started, folks, if you are new around here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as hitting the like button and the bell icon to get notified every single time a brand new upload goes live on the channel. Okay, folks, so without further ado, let's jump into the house guests. So we're going to be going alphabetically, so we start with Austin at A, of course, and this is what we know so far from Austin's bio. So she is 23 years old and her hometown is Newmarket, Ontario, and her occupation is a realtor/model. And sort of what we know a little bit about her game would be, with brains and beauty, this BB Can superfan will take out the competition with her knowledge of the game and flirtatious strategy. Now, I did actually watch her VT package. I'm sure you guys have seen quite a lot of them. It's about a minute and a half video that basically just talks you, or they talk you through their personality, what they're going to do in the house. And the thing, that screamed out to me immediately, it goes hand in hand with this flirtatious strategy. She is very, very attractive, and I'll say one thing for sure, folks. If I was in that house, I know she could potentially have me under her spell, so I know that's going to work to her advantage massively. And I think the fact she's a realtor as well, I mean, she's got the gift of the gab, and that is an incredible threat. I mean, if you've got the gift of the gab where you can talk confidently in front of people and go, make that eye contact and people are listening, everybody's lapping up your story, there's no stopping you, really, honestly. And I think as well, to be a realtor, you've got to have that sort of charm where you sort of like, you can bounce off anything, no matter what somebody says, throw a negative towards you. You've got to throw that positive back because you've got to make that sale. Your mind's ticking 24/7, so that's really going to definitely help her work in the game, especially with her flirtatious strategy. So immediately, I was thinking that Austin is, I wouldn't say my pick to win, but she's definitely up there as somebody who people need to watch out for. I think she's going to be a huge threat. She seemed fun as well. She seemed like a really sort of personable house guest who I think Canada and whoever's watching it are going to take to their hearts. They're really going to like her. I mean, I've got nothing bad to say about Austin so far. I think she's going to be a fantastic house guest. Definitely a social threat that people need to watch out for, but certainly an exciting house guest that is going to be fantastic on this season of Big Brother Canada. Next up on our list of house guests is Beth, and I am very excited to see Beth after watching the VT package, but this is what we know about her bio so far. So Beth is 27 years old and she is from TOMAHAWK, Alberta, and her occupation is homeless support worker. So Beth may be a country girl through and through, but her trauma training, physical strength and mental fortitude will lead her to win Big Brother Canada 9. Now, my initial thoughts from seeing Beth's VT package and her bio were that she's not necessarily going to be a game threat, but I think she's going to be somebody that people are going to be very entertained by, and that can lead on to making her a game threat. Straight off the bat, though, I don't think there's anything that screams she's going to be extremely calculated or anything like that. I just think she seems a really down-to-earth girl who, she grew up on a farm, so she's not afraid of getting her hands dirty and really getting stuck in. So I really don't think she'll be sort of afraid of really going for it in challenges and really trying to win those competitions. The thing with Beth is, I think, she's seems very, very funny and entertaining. She's going to be cracking jokes 24/7 and making people laugh, and that'll really build this solid sort of social circle in week 1 and 2. Really getting those solid allies right next to her, and this will help as it goes on. But then, just as it helps in Big Brother, this is the sort of thing where when you've got many, many allies, hey, week 1's fine, you're bulldozing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, hello, week 7. Then all of a sudden people go, whoa, she's got too many people on her side. People are starting to go to the jury and they love Beth. They've got to get rid of her. So I feel like Beth could be somebody who maybe makes it about halfway and then becomes a threat. It's either going to be that or people will recognise the threat straight away and take her out. I don't necessarily see Beth going the whole way, but who am I to say anything? This is obviously pre-season and anything could happen. But my overall verdict, I think Beth seems fantastic. She's going to be very entertaining, and I can't wait to see her play Big Brother Canada. Now, house guest number 3 is Braden. Here's what we know about Braden so far from the bio. Braden is aged 23, his hometown is Calgary, Alberta, and occupation anthropology student. So, watch out for this fierce and hard-working competitor who never gives up. Braden will not only be there to stay, but he will be there to slay. So we've got a bit of a rhyming going on there. But in regards to the VT package, for me, I don't really see Braden, I don't want to sound horrible, but I don't really see Braden winning the game, to be honest. He seems like he's definitely going to get himself into a lot of arguments, and one of those personalities that I think will rub a lot of people up the wrong way. I mean, he was out and out saying that he's petty and stuff like that, and that's not really a good sign when you go into Big Brother. You need to at least try to sort of work with people and, you know, not so. And the thing is, being petty in a game like this, whether it be Survivor or Big Brother, anything like that, you've got to sometimes put your troubles aside and go, okay, no, internalize it, push it to the side. And being petty, which probably means he's going to be, you know, making moves that aren't really going to be beneficial to his game. He's going to be making emotional moves, which we all know doesn't really turn out well for anybody who does so in Big Brother. You've got to think with your head, not your heart. So it's yeah, I mean, I'm not like against Braden, but he's just, so far the ones I've seen, he doesn't scream to me like he's going to be somebody who's going to make a massive dent game wise. I think he could be more maybe a character that people are going to be entertained by more so than anything. But in regards to, as I say, game talk, I don't know if he'll really be engaging in that too much. I think he'll make quite a big sort of social circle in the first couple of weeks. Again, similar to Beth, I think he might be somebody who people levitate towards or gravitate towards. And further down the line, though, I if he's going to be playing petty and not going to be thinking with his head, then I just think it could damage his game and thus won't help him win it. But definitely a character to watch out for in Big Brother Canada 9. Next up, we've got Jedson, also known as Jed, as he refers to himself in the VT package. This is what we know so far about Jed. He's aged 25 and his hometown is Aurora, Ontario, and his occupation is a personal trainer. This well-rounded ladies' man is confident he holds the 3 essential qualities needed to succeed on Big Brother Canada: athleticism, intelligence, and a charming personality. Right, okay, so time to talk about Jedson. I think he sort of referred to himself as an athlete several times through it and talked about showmancers. It's a typical person that you'd probably get on any Big Brother season who wants to get in a showmance and wants to win every single competition. Is that a recipe for success? For Jackson Mickey it was. He's the only person who I can think of off the top of my head that really did win Big Brother, you know, winning back-to-back comps all the time. It's not really a strategy that usually works out. It can work because obviously if you continue to win, nobody can touch you. But the comes a time in which, you know, you can't win a competition because you're ineligible to compete, or, you know, somebody's just stronger than you and they beat you out to it. And it's not always going to be a physical comp, it's going to be a memory comp that they may not be as good at, but it says he's intelligent, so he may just be able to clean up on that. So hats off to him if he can manage to do that and win comp after comp after comp and pull off, you know, a really dominant win, which I think is definitely something that people remember and are impressed by in Big Brother, when you can just win comp after comp. But let's be honest, if we're really breaking it down statistically, I don't really think that strategy is going to work. And the showmance, I mean, I guess it can work and get you further in the game, but it also paints a target on your back, and people go, hey, look, them two are in a showmance together, let's get them out. But also, equally, if there's another showmance, 2 people or 2 showmances or 3 showmances often team together to make a showmance, or a group of 3 showmances or 2 showmances, and that really provides a lot of safety in numbers because, you know, there's more people gunning for the win to save that group. So it really could go one of 2 ways. That's the way I'm viewing this. It's either he's going to be somebody who is going to go out quite early, or he might make it all the way to the end and take it. Josh is our next house guest. This is what we know about Josh so far. So Josh is 30 years old, his hometown is New Westminster, British Columbia, and occupation is film production coordinator. So this authentic and intelligent film production coordinator has no problem stirring up the game. Now, okay, so the vibe I got from Josh, very, very, very laid back, almost too laid back. He was just extremely chill, and I think that's going to work to his benefit. It could be one of those things where he's very, very chill, maybe gets a few comp wins at the end, and, you know, and takes it to the final 2, then wins it. Because, you know, I think when you can be chill, people like that person usually. They like the chill person who doesn't really cause up much trouble. But equally, if you get to the end and there's big people who've made big moves, then you're going to be undercredited and you're not going to be able to get that win. So let's see what Josh can do there. There was a quote he said in the VT that, you know, I didn't necessarily agree with, where he said, you know, if you've got a problem with me, that's your problem, not my problem. It doesn't work like that in Big Brother. I can't emphasize that enough. If somebody's got a problem with you, you need to deal with it because it's on your back. That's like just saying, like, hey, somebody wants to target me, that's your problem. No, it's not. It's your problem. You got to do what you got to do to get that target off you. You don't just sit down and try and take the moral high ground. I'm sorry, this is Big Brother. It's not, you know, it's not let's all try and be friends and, you know, who can win an argument. It doesn't matter. You can lose the argument, you can win the argument, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you're making the right game move. it does. You can lose 15 million arguments whilst you're in that house, but as long as you get to the end and you've made the moves, that's what matters. So it's no time to take the moral high ground, I don't think. But you know what? Overall, I like Josh, not massively. He's definitely not my favourite on the cast, but I think his sort of laid back and chill vibe could definitely help him make it further in the game. Next up, we have Julie. This is what we know about Julie so far. So Julie is aged 28, her hometown is Vancouver, British Columbia, and occupation social media influencer. Don't be fooled by the beauty and glamour, this YouTube star is ready to pull out all the show-stopping moves to become a Big Brother Canada icon. So with Julie, very, very, very confident. That's the vibe I got immediately from Julie. And, I also picked up on the fact that Julie talked about how the fact she was a YouTube star as well as an influencer. Now, to be an influencer, to be a YouTuber, successful, you've obviously gained a following. So Julie knows how to make people, follow her and really sort of dig her vibe. So they click that subscribe button or they click that follow button. And, if you can do that to, thousands of people online, then, you should have probably no trouble doing it in person. It's easier, you can make that one-to-one connection with people, even more so in the house. So I think Julie's definitely somebody who's going to be a dominant personality in the house, who's going to be able to rally the troops and create an army potentially of people that are going to help her out and people she can work with, because she's got experience in making people want to watch more of her and want to see more of her, and I think it goes the same if you flip it from online content of wanting to see somebody more, flip it into the house where maybe you want to work with someone more, you want to see somebody make it further in the game. So I think she's really going to use those influencing skills to her advantage. I wouldn't underestimate Julie at all. Very confident, somebody who's gained a platform for herself, definitely somebody who can make it far in the game. Now, our next house guest is somebody I am very, very excited about. This is Kiefer. So here is what we know about Kiefer. He is aged 32, his hometown is Old Masset, British Columbia. His occupation is a radio host. So this laid-back radio host and family man may not seem like a threat, but he will use this to his advantage to become the next Big Brother Canada 9 champion. Let's hear it for Kiefer, folks. I mean, what a legend. I mean, for a start, I associate with that radio host sort of thing, because I do YouTube. I like sitting in front of the microphone and talking to people, and I just have a whale of a time doing so, and I'm sure Kiefer loves doing radio stuff as well, so immediately I dig that. And he's a family man as well, which I think is fantastic. He's fighting for his kids and his wife and even his dogs for that matter. I always usually root for the sort of the family person. I just think it's just so important in life, and I think he's got a really good cause behind him there that he's doing that for, so I can't wait for that. So radio as well as family man, something fantastic there, and his personality just seems really sort of fun as well. He knows how to work the audience from being a radio host, and he can work with people of all ages, obviously, because different people listen to the radio. He's got kids as well, so he can do all ages all over. So I think Kiefer's going to have no trouble creating a very solid social game that could really do some damage in the game. Next up, we have Mr. Replacement. It's Kyle, of course, after Ethan was booted from the cast before the show even started. We have now been given Kyle, so here is what we know about Kyle so far. So Kyle's age is 26, his hometown is Red Deer, Alberta, occupation unemployed hockey coach, and Kyle plans to make as many connections as possible and dominate the competitions in hopes to become the BB Can 9 champ. So there we go. Obviously, Kyle wasn't even supposed to be in the cast in the first place, so this will be pretty remarkable if Kyle turns out to be a fantastic house guest, which I think there's some potential there after watching the VT. His overall personality, about talking about how life's just one big party, probably isn't going to work too well in the house. However, when he puts his head in the game and talks about how, coaching a hockey team is just like being in the Big Brother house. There's going to be people that you like and people that you don't like, and there's going to be this all sort of melting pot of people that some of them will mix well and some of them won't. Fantastic analogy to look at it there. To look at it that way, I think is brilliant. Just a brilliant way to look at it, and I think that's definitely going to be able to work to his advantage, being as a coach, get the people in line and know, right, okay, who needs to be at the back, who needs to be at the front, and who to prioritise in the team and who to keep off the team, basically, or essentially in this case it wouldn't be keep off the team or be benched. You'd literally be evicted from the house. I think that's going to be a brilliant way if he can work the house as if he's a coach. I think that could go down monumentally in Big Brother history if he could be known as the coach or something like that. I think that could work fantastic fantastically, but he needs to get his head in the game and get away from that sort of whole life's a party thing, guys. I mean, it seems a bit forced if you ask me. I don't think I think it's a bit of an act. But really, I think that he's got a hell of a lot of potential if he can work to this coach thing and really go for it. And you know how happy people will be if it turns out the replacement is one of the key players of the season. I think people will be amazed and very, very happy. Next up, we've got LaToya, who I think has a huge amount of potential in this house. So let's talk about what we know about LaToya so far. So she is 34 years old, her hometown is Pickering, Ontario, and her occupation is police officer. This ambitious police officer will make nice with the house guest and build alliances to make it to the top, all while undercover as a fashion designer. So technically she is a fashion designer because she's sort of got a swimwear line on the side of being a police officer. So this thing is going to really be, an all undercover mission, if you can look at it like that. And, just coming on from talking about Kyle there as the coach, being able to sort of use that analogy to, work the house guests like that. Equally, LaToya could work the house guest as if she's the police officer, because she's the fashion designer, but she's got the mentality of the police officer. She's got that creative side as the designer and that sort of personable side as the designer. But as a police officer, she knows how to get people in line. She knows how to, probably make people do what she wants them to. And all while they're going, no, she's just a fashion designer. But they're not going to believe it. I think it's fantastic. It's the perfect cover. And I don't think, personally, just like she says, I don't think anybody's going to suspect she is a police officer. And obviously, being a police officer, she's very physically adept, and she hits the gym many times a week, and she goes hard, she said, when she's at the gym as well. So definitely a physical threat in the comps, and I think it could be one of those ones where she wins one and people are just going, meh, she won't win anymore, but she will. She'll continue to win back to back comps, and it could really work. But at the same time, I don't think she's stupid enough to win back to back comps. I think she'll go, yeah, let's win them when I need to, or when I want to make a power move. Definitely someone to look out for, and definitely a potential winner of Big Brother Canada. Next up, we've got the self-proclaimed villain of the season. It's Rohan. Here's what we know about Rohan so far. So he is aged 26 and his hometown is Toronto, Ontario, and his occupation is Strategic Partnerships Manager. So confident, athletic, strategic and charming, Rohan has all the elements needed to be a great Big Brother Canada player. Well, saying that, I don't really think he does. I think he thinks he does, and that is going to blow up his game totally. He came across to me like he was trying to be Dr. Will Kirby. Dr. Will has this way of, being the villain, but he has a funny way of doing it where he's very sarcastic and sort of works the audience in doing it. Rowan just, in my opinion, sounded too overconfident and sort of didn't have that sort of comedy that Dr. Will brings to being the villain. So I did actually look at a couple of the comments on his VT, and I do agree with a vast majority of what people were saying, that I think he may play too hard, too fast, or be way too overconfident, and people go, whoa, have you spoke to Rowan this week? And everyone goes, yeah, I spoke to Rowan, and then everyone goes, I spoke to Rowan, he wants to work with me. Oh, let's get rid of Rowan, because it's going to be one of those things where people realise he wants to work with everybody, and it's not going to work. And I don't know. I mean, it could be one of those things where it could go extremely well for him, and then he does end up being the villain of the season. But to me, if I was gambling, I would say that he could just end up playing too hard, too fast, and people will get him out, and they might find him quite cocky, and that is just not going to work. So it's either, again, one of two ways. It's either going to go incredibly well for him or disastrously. Tara is next on our list of house guests. This is what we know about her so far. So she is 37 years old, her hometown is LaSalle, Ontario, and occupation mum/spin instructor. So this free-spirited married mum of two is ready to show women and mums everywhere that it is never too late to follow her dreams to become the next Big Brother Canada winner. Now, I'm very excited about Tara. I think, again, it's that sort of, I like that family vibe. I always dig the person who's doing it for their family. I just think it's a real nice cause, and, they're usually quite down to earth, and, and just a likable person, when they're a family person. So I'm really rooting for Tara. I think she's going to be really good, and I think she seems quite entertaining as well, quite funny. I don't necessarily think she's going to be the mastermind, but I think she will create a good social game, and definitely somebody who can win comps as well. Somebody to definitely watch out for, and I think people will just gravitate towards her. She's got that likable personality, and when you don't often have to do anything, when you're a likable person, you can just sit there, and then people start coming towards you all the time, and you don't have to go out your own way to go, hey, can I work with you? Because that'll just seem desperate. People just come towards you, and I think Tara is definitely going to be one of those people. And I think especially as well, I think people sort of don't really often really want to get the person out who's the mum, if that makes sense. I think they're like, oh, they're nice and sweet and everything like that, and they likely very are, and that'll work to their advantage. I think it will definitely save her a couple of weeks, and it's not even necessarily saving her. I think it's just going to buy her more time to do her thing, because I think she's definitely going to be doing a lot in this house. I think definitely want to watch out for scary social game that she may have, and definitely could make a dent on the game. Next up is possibly my favourite house guest of the pre-season picks, definitely in the top 2 for sure, and it's Tina. Here's what we know about Tina so far. So Tina is 42 years old, her hometown is Paradise, Newfoundland, and occupation graphic designer. So this driven entrepreneur will take on the Big Brother Canada house by being pleasant on the surface with more than a few tricks up her sleeve. Well, I'm just extremely excited about Tina. Any of you guys who, have been watching my videos for a while now know that I always root for the older person, and I know she's only 42. I'm not saying she's old, but for Big Brother standards, she is the older house guest. I really dig the older person's vibe, whether we'll be talking about Big Brother US for a second, whether it be Kevin from BB19 or Steve from BB20 or even Cliff from Big Brother 21. They're just a few to name. I just really, really root for the older person because they've got those life stories and they're usually a family person, and just brilliant. And I think Tina is definitely going to be somebody who is just like that. Her occupation obviously is a graphic designer. It's a very youth dominated industry with a lot more youthful people in there, so she obviously knows how to work with younger people, and obviously gain that market share to be successful within her job. So she will definitely know how to work that younger crowd and know how to sort of communicate with younger people to make those solid connections that you need to advance further in the Big Brother house as well as the business world. So I think that's really going to work to Tina's advantage. And also, she's super likable as well. She was sort of talking in her VT how she walks past people when she's just walking around, going on hikes and so. And she was saying hi to people, making conversations and stuff like that. Super personable. Just the sort of person you want in Big Brother. Somebody who is going to make you laugh, someone's going to entertain you, and somebody that you go, yeah, I really like that person. And I think the house guest will be doing exactly the same. Obviously, there's that horrible threat of, the older person being the first to go, because it's easy to put the older person up. It's the coward's way out. It's just ridiculous. I've got no respect for whoever wins HOH in week 1, and usually a younger person, and then they go, hey, I'm just going to nominate, the older person. No, I've got no time for that. Listen, if I was there and I was the younger person, there's no way I'd be putting up the older person, unless they actually did something to annoy me. The older person is usually just nice and they're there in the background, really, so they've got usually no reason to put them up whatsoever. So if somebody does end up doing that, I'll probably lose quite a lot of respect for them game-wise. This is just making me want to root for Tina even more. I just always have hopes for the I'm so sorry for Tina to keep calling her the older person, but in this case she is. But I think for sure, if she can get out the gates, give her a couple of weeks to, get the ball rolling, she could do some serious damage on the game. Second to last, we have got Tashawn. This is what we know about Tashawn so far. So he is 29 years old, his hometown is Montreal, Quebec, and his occupation is an urban planner. So Tashawn is prepared to charm the house guest and play his way through the game straight to finale. And I do think he's actually very capable of that. The thing that screamed out to me was his occupation. He's an urban planner, and then he talked about his life, how he grew up in a low-income area. And to me, that is extremely relative to the Big Brother house. When you're at the bottom, you've got to have that positive attitude that's going to get you through that. And for him to grow up in a low income place, he's obviously had to have that sort of optimism and that sort of hope. And when the thing is, when in the Big Brother house, what can often happen is if you're riding high all the time because you're used to it on the outside world, and then you hit rock bottom, you just crumble and you're like, oh, I can't do this, it's all too much, please get me out of here. And you can't have that attitude. It's just it's not on in the Big Brother house. You've always got to keep going no matter what, and it doesn't matter even if you feel like you're getting evicted this week, just keep pushing until Larissa says you've been evicted from the Big Brother house. You've got to keep going, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Having been grown up in somewhere where he felt slightly disadvantaged, and he's had to sort of work his way through, working up to the top as an urban planner, or working it much further as an urban planner. He's had to have that hope and drive and determination and optimism. So I think he's going to bring that with him in the Big Brother house, which is going to work incredibly well to his advantage. I wouldn't underestimate him for a second. Definitely someone who I could see make it very far and potentially win the game. Last but not least, it's Victoria. This is what we know about Victoria so far. She is 27 years old, her hometown is Hamilton, Ontario, and her occupation is youth advocate. So Victoria is a competitive risk taker with super high energy and a solid social game that will ensure victory. So Victoria, definitely confident, definitely feisty, somebody who is going to be a standout personality in the house that could work to her advantage or just as equally her disadvantage. If it rubs people up the wrong way, she's going to find herself on the block. But equally, you can use that to your advantage. Say if you find somebody annoying in the house, you can go, let's keep them around because they're going to be going for her and not for me. But also, if this confidence comes out, people do gravitate often towards the confident person because they come across as the leader in a social scenario, and that could work to Victoria's advantage, especially as somebody who's an advocate as well for youths. It's somebody who gives out advice and support. Again, that's just leader mentality. It's leader qualities that people will gravitate towards, and especially being a youth advocate as well. There's so many different personalities you have to deal with. It doesn't matter what age, but I think especially youths, you're going to be dealing with people of all sorts, people who are totally at the different ends of the social spectrum. Somebody who's, you can go from super popular to somebody who's not so much in the in crowd and, might sort of shy away from people a lot. There's just literally, it's a melting pot of personalities. So she definitely knows how to deal with probably most personality types, which is perfect for the Big Brother house because that's exactly what you're going to get. It's a range of people from everywhere and loads of different backgrounds. So that is definitely going to work. So for me, I don't really see her being a comp threat. I see her being a social threat that is going to have many people and allies around her. That is going to help her make it further in the game. Do I see her winning? I'm going to say no, but don't take that and roll with it. I think it's pre-season, just a guess. She could turn out to be absolutely incredible at comps, and that could be totally the opposite of everything she said. But to me, I either see her being an early boot or making it very far in the game. I don't really think there's any in between for Victoria, but definitely somebody exciting that's going to be a great personality on the season. That is all of your Big Brother Canada updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching and had just as much fun watching as I did making them. It feels incredible to get back in front of the camera talking about Big Brother. I have so much fun doing it, and I can't wait for an extremely exciting season ahead of us, guys. But please let me know your favourites and predictions of anything Big Brother Canada in the comments. I'd love to hear it, and I might just jump into, as you guys obviously have conversations with each other in the comments, which I love, and I often jump in and join in the conversation as well, because just chatting with fellow Big Brother fans is really awesome. But guys, thank you so much for watching, as I said. But that's all your updates for today. In the meantime, stay safe, stay positive, stay healthy out there, guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. But until your next Big Brother Canada update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.